Miss Sapp, we are live streaming now.
Thank you, Dr. Lawson. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for the District Library Book Objection Committee meeting. The purpose of today's meeting is to review an objection to the book titled Freedom Writer's Diary by Erin Gruwell. School-based and district staff, as well as parent and community volunteers, are invited to participate on each committee. Today's meeting will result in a recommendation that will be forwarded to Mr. Forson, St. Johns County School District Superintendent. This committee meeting is public record and therefore subject to sunshine law. It is being live streamed for public viewing. Committee members are not required to have their camera on during the meeting. We're committed to civility and decorum. Please assist us in maintaining a constructive meeting environment by remaining respectful of each participant during the meeting and afterwards. Additional discussion of the objecting party or committee members outside of the meeting is discouraged. Disparaging comments are contrary to district expectations regarding character and civility. Committee members received several resources in advance of the meeting. The resources included the objecting party's request for reconsideration, a copy of the book, Florida statutes, Florida Department of Education guidance for library media services, professional source reviews, St. Johns County School Board rules, the Library Bill of Rights, and the School Library Media Materials Evaluation Checklist. The process for today is as follows. First, the objecting party will have the opportunity to address the committee. They will provide any information they deem compelling or new regarding their request. Next, the committee will have a discussion utilizing the School Library Media Material Evaluation Checklist. Finally, the committee will determine a recommendation for Superintendent Forson. There are two options. Number one, retain the book for a designated level, or number two, remove the book from St. Johns County School District libraries. For our meeting today, both agreeable and opposing viewpoints are welcome, and we look forward to attaining consensus. Are there any questions? Seeing none, let us begin. Jean Moore is the objecting party for Freedom Writer's Diary. Ms. Moore, this is your time to address the committee. You have up to 5 minutes to share your objection.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts and concerns with you all. This book contains sexual activities, sexual nudity, profanity and derogatory terms, violence including child abuse and molestation, hate including racist commentary, also alcohol and drug use and abuse. Florida House Bill 1069 is the law that says any material used or made available in a school library cannot contain pornography or content that is prohibited under Florida Statute 847.012, depicts or describes sexual conduct as defined in Florida Statute 847.001-19. Florida Statute 847.001-19 points back to the Section 16, which describes in more detail what is considered sexual conduct. Section 19 says that sexual conduct includes any act or conduct which constitutes sexual battery or simulates that sexual battery is being or will be committed. In this section is an example of that. What is that? Who's touching me? Whatever it was, I didn't like it. It was Uncle Joe. What was he doing to me? Whatever it was, I wanted it to stop. I opened my mouth to tell him to stop, but the words wouldn't come. It was as if a ton of bricks had fallen on me, knocking the air from my lungs, making me unable to speak. I felt his body right next to mine, and his breathing got stronger and stronger. He was touching me in places I didn't know could make me feel so dirty. I didn't move a muscle. I made my body as hard as a rock as he slowly slid his hand up my shirt, caressing my back and the side of my breasts. He kept on trying to make me lie on my back, but he was unsuccessful. He got closer and closer. I could actually feel his skin touching mine. The feel of his sweat and his lips on my skin made me want to cry. A gigantic lump formed in my throat, and to this day, nothing makes it go away. Uncle Joe wasn't being rough with me, which made it hard for me to decide whether or not what he was doing to me was wrong. It tore me up inside to think he would actually do me any harm. I was only a little girl, but I knew what he was doing was wrong. But why? Uncle Joe is the most righteous person I've ever met. After Uncle Joe invaded me, he got up for a drink of water. Section 19 also says that sexual conduct includes actual physical contact with a person's clothed or unclothed genitals. An example is, as his penis twirled in my mouth, thoughts of the popcorn he promised me ran through my mind. I stood in shock, listening to the young girls sing jingle balls, jingle all the way. I couldn't believe it. I watched as the pledges on their knees, inches away from the guys standing in front of them with their balls out of their pants. The freshman girls were singing this song in disgust as the high school participants crowded around to watch. The fucking bitches are closing their eyes. Make them open their eyes. The senior girls disregarded their comments and continued watching. When they went through this ceremony 4 years ago, the males were allowed to wipe their balls on the pledges' faces, but this year the girls were spared. The rest of the book is loaded with racial slurs, hate speech, alcohol use and abuse, drug use and abuse. The law is clear when it describes what is obscene. This committee has no other choice than to remove the 100 copies of this book from the shelves. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Committee members, we will now begin our discussion utilizing the school library material evaluation checklist. Florida statute states that any material used in a classroom made available in a school or classroom library or included on a reading list may be objected to for 4 specific reasons. The first reason is that the material is found to be pornographic or prohibited under section 847.012 of Florida statute. If the majority of the committee finds that the material is pornographic, it must be removed from all libraries. For the remaining 3 reasons, the committee will determine, is there an appropriate grade level where the material could be used? So the remaining 3 reasons: the material depicts or describes sexual conduct as defined in statute 847.001 paren 19. The next reason, the material is not suited to the student needs and their ability to comprehend the material. And the final reason, the material is inappropriate for the grade level and age group for which the material is used. Can someone from Media Services please tell the committee, where is this material currently available and which grade levels?
The material is currently available at a middle school and in our high school collections.
So Miss
8th grade and up.
8th grade and up, is that correct? Okay, thank you. It was a little bit hard to hear you. Okay.
Sorry.
So keep in mind that our final task on the form is to make a recommendation to Superintendent Forson, and there will be 2 options. We can either retain the book for a designated level or remove the book from all St. Johns County School District libraries. Again, the statute is clear that if the majority of the committee believes that there is a violation of question 4, we must remove the title. The floor will be open to discussion, and each committee member will have the opportunity to share. Please remember to raise your hand to provide a comment. You may raise your hand at any time, and comments will be summarized to provide an overall committee response for each question. For our meeting today, both agreeable and opposing viewpoints are welcome, and we look forward to attaining consensus. Let's begin. So for question number 1 on our media materials evaluation checklist, question number 1 says the objecting party's challenge of the material cites that. And so we would go back and look at the reconsideration from Mrs. Moore. And on her reconsideration for this title, Freedom Writer's Diary, she cites contains sexual activity, sexual nudity, alternate sexualities, profanity and derogatory terms, violence, including child abuse and molestation, hate, including racist commentary, alcohol, and drug abuse. Also, she has a concern about the number of copies that our county has of this book. So we will take that language and place it into the library media materials evaluation checklist so that will go along with our recommendation to Mr. Forson. So we will move to question number 2. For question numbers 2 and 3, this is to give Mr. Forson a picture of did the members of the committee view the specific pages that were cited by the objecting party? So for number 2, if you did review the pages that were cited by the objecting party, you would vote yes. If you did not review those specific pages, you would vote no. Please vote now.
Ms. Sapp? We have 8 yes votes for question number 2.
Thank you, Dr.
may-
Lawson.
You're welcome. You may now remove your vote. If we can have everyone remove their vote at this time. Thank you.
Okay, question number 3, it's similar. For question number 3, you're going to indicate basically, did you review the professional and/or crowdsource reviews for this title? So if you did review those professional and/or crowdsource reviews, please vote yes. If you did not review the crowdsource reviews, you would vote no.
Ms. Sapp, that is 6 yes votes and 2 no votes.
Okay, thank you.
You may now remove your vote.
For question number 4, is the material pornographic or prohibited under Florida Statute 847.012? You're voting on, is the material pornographic or prohibited under Florida Statute 847.012? Please vote.
Ms. Sapp, that is 3 yes votes and 5 no votes. You may now remove your vote.
Just a quick reminder, if anyone ever would like to share a comment, just raise your hand and we will acknowledge all hands that are raised. So we are moving on to question number 5. So just as a reminder, for number 4, the majority of the committee did not feel that the book was pornographic. So we're moving on to question number 5. For 5, 6, and 7, we are answering the question and then we will determine, is there a grade level where this material may be appropriate? And just as a reminder, the material is currently in grades 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so for number 5, does the material depict or describe sexual conduct defined in Florida Statute 847.001, paren 19? So you're voting yes or no to, does the material depict or describe sexual conduct defined in Florida Statute 847.001?
Ms. Sapp, that is 7 yes votes and 1 no vote. You may now clear your vote.
Okay, we're moving on to question number 6. Is the material unsuited to student needs and their ability to comprehend the material presented? Is the material unsuited to student needs and their ability to comprehend the material presented? Please vote.
Ms. Sapp, we have 1 yes vote and 7 no votes. You may now clear your vote.
Thank you. Question number 7. Is the material inappropriate for the grade level and age group for which the material is used? Is the material inappropriate for the grade level and age group for which the material is used? We do have a hand up. Do we need to go ahead and,
Hang on, let me
okay,
let
I
me
wasn't
check
sure if you had,
the voting. I did capture the voting. Our votes were 4 yes votes and 3 no votes for question 7. I'm
We
sorry,
did.
that's 5 yes and 3 no votes.
okay.
Some votes are gone, so I have to go back and check the original tally. We do have 1 hand raised.
Kay Gowans, go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is the place to say it, but while I don't think it's suitable for middle school, I do think it's appropriate for high school. So it was hard for me to say it clear. Like currently it's 8 and up, but
Mhm.
I think it's high school. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
You may now remove your vote if you haven't done so already.
Okay, so we are now at the point where we will vote on our recommendation for Mr. Forson as far as at which level this title would be appropriate. Is there someone from the committee who would like to offer where they think we should start with the grade level that's appropriate? Go ahead, Jen.
I think we should start with 9th grade.
Okay. So we have a request to start with a vote on the material is appropriate for grade 9 and up. So if you agree that the material is appropriate for grade 9 and up, please indicate with a yes. If you disagree or you think we should do something different, please vote no. The material is appropriate for grade 9 and up.
Ms. Sapp, the vote for keeping it for grades 9 and up is 7 yes votes and 1 no vote.
Okay.
You may now remove your vote.
All right, so the committee's recommendation will be that the material is we are recommending to Mr. Forson that the material is appropriate for grades 9 and up. And just as a reminder, Mr. Forson will see this in its entirety, and he also sees a summary of any comments that were made during the meeting. And we have just a few more things to close out this meeting. First of all, thank you very much for your participation today. We have 2 final action steps to conclude our work. Number 1, your acknowledgement as a participation on the committee is needed on the recommendation to Mr. Forson. The recommendation, which includes notes from today's discussion, will be emailed to you. You may acknowledge participation by responding with an email, or you may review and sign the documents in person at our Media Services office at 10 Hildreth in St. Augustine. We ask that you complete that, please, by the end of this week. The notes typically go out within a day or so, so if you can please just review those and respond back by the end of the week. The second action is to please return your book and any notes from your work that you used in preparing for this meeting to the location where you picked up your book. Because this meeting is done in the sunshine as part of that law, any preparatory notes should be included and returned with your book. And we also ask that you please try to also complete that task by the end of this week. That would be very helpful. Are there any questions before we close the meeting? Okay,
So
thank
sorry,
you.
I'm so sorry. I know there's a
Go
form.
ahead.
You said we could email the form. Is that correct?
You can return your book and any notes that you used in preparing for the meeting. You can return those to the location where you originally picked up your book. We're going to email out the recommendation and all the notes that go along with our recommendation from Mr. Forson, and you can simply respond to that email that you agree with the summary, and we'll use that as note that you participated.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, that concludes our meeting. Thank you.